up until now, within the book of Matthew, Christ consciousness has been revealed. It's been tested, it's been taught, but in chapter 8, everything kind of shifts. Everything changes because truth is no longer being spoken, but it's being demonstrated. Healing begins. Authority is expressed. And the question becomes, is healing external, or is it the natural result of alignment with consciousness?
Guys, isn't human life just so freaking crazy?
Hi friends, my name is Chloe from the Galactic Soul, also known as Chloe Sheds Light. I am a consciousness teacher and I talk about the universe, I talk about humanity, I talk about all of the crazy wild things under the sun. So definitely make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications because I do post a lot. But within this video, I'm really going to be talking about Matthew 8. That's right, the book of Matthew, chapter 8, and how it relates to the revealing of Christ consciousness. Now, again, this is my disclaimer. This is not the only way to read the Bible. You can read the Bible literally. You can read the Bible historically. You can read it in many different ways. It has to do with the perception. But in this video, I'm really going to talk about it metaphysically, and I'm going to talk about it as in us reading between the lines and really connecting the dots between Christ consciousness and what is the point of embodying who Jesus or Yeshua was. And learning about it and embodying it is totally two different things, right? And we have been learning this through this series, and I've been loving this series so far. I say it a lot. Book of Matthew is my favorite. It's my favorite, and it just makes sense to me. Not that Mark, Luke, and John didn't do a great job, but the book of Matthew is just something, there's just something about it. But overall, let's get started on chapter 8. Now, chapter 8 opens up with Jesus heals a man with leprosy. Also, if you need gear, the first link in my description box below shows you everything that I use, highlighters, the book, the tabs, everything for historical texts and note-taking and study. So definitely check that out if you need anything. But yeah, so the chapter 8 starts with the man with leprosy, and man with leprosy goes up to Jesus and says, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." And Jesus responds, "I am willing, be clean." Really as simple as that, right? Of course. But metaphysically, leprosy, in my mind, represents deep identity distortion. It's separation from those around you. And it's not only the separation, it's also the shame and the unworthiness of being around other people. Not only just Jesus overall, but other people, period. Because leprosy, it eats at your skin, right? And people just automatically push away from you. And I want you to notice something very, very important. The man with leprosy does not question power. He questions worthiness. Because he says, if you are willing, you can make me clean. This is the core wound in so many people. Not, can I be healed, but am I allowed to be? Am I allowed to be healed? Am I worthy of this being taken off of my plate? But in the world of Christ consciousness dissolves that illusion instantly. I am willing. Healing begins when separation ends. Think of the world that we are living in right now. Healing begins when separation ends. So the man with leprosy is healed. It's a beautiful thing, right? Perfect. Now we're moving on to the faith of the centurion. Now, centurion is like the officers in the Roman army, and they look after around 80 to 100 soldiers. So they're looking after quite a big amount of people. And the centurion comes to Jesus and says, "Lord, my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly." Jesus says, "Shall I come and heal him?" The centurion says, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word and the servant shall be healed." This is alignment here. And just say the word and my servant shall be healed. Catholics say this in Mass all the time. Just say the word and I shall be healed. He understands authority, the centurion, not as force, but as alignment. Jesus responds that he has not seen faith in Israel. Metaphysically, this reveals that healing is not about proximity. It is about resonance. The centurion doesn't need physical presence. He's not asking for that. He trusts the frequency of truth that Jesus resonates and is willing to match that. This is a higher level of consciousness where belief is not hope. It is certainty, and it is shown here. Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, let it be done just as you believed it would." And his servant was healed at that moment. So proximity is not a thing, right? It's the alignment of the frequency of healing, which Jesus automatically held. He held that frequency. This is what he was meant to do. He was meant to show others that this is possible. This is possible if you bring your awareness to another level and you level up your consciousness. You take everything from the bigger picture inward. The next portion of chapter 8 is Jesus heals many, but really he's going to Peter's house and he saw Peter's mother-in-law laying in bed with a fever, right? Jesus touches her hand and the fever automatically leaves. She immediately gets up like nothing ever happened, like she wasn't just dying a second ago, and she goes and serves everyone in the house like a regular Ima does, right? Metaphysically, fever, the word fever represents an internal agitation or an imbalance. That's what a fever is. Disease is dis-ease within the body. The energetic flow of your body is imbalanced, causing the fever. And when consciousness returns to alignment, distortion, imbalances, dissolve naturally. And notice what she does. She gets up and serves. True healing restores your ability to express your natural state. She loved serving others. She loved being in the home where everybody comes to in order to be fed and sustained. This wasn't any force. This wasn't a performance. She just wanted to serve. And that was her internal flow. That was her balance. And Jesus allowed her to do that because she met him at that level, at that frequency level, the resonance of healing. She believed. She believed. And that's at an energetic level, because when you're at a fever, you're kind of like all over the place, right? That's at an energetic level. She believed. And then after that, it says, when evening came, many who were demon possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases. Now, this is very much understood, but this is a prophecy that is being spoken about. In Isaiah, it is spoken that he will take up infirmaries and bore our diseases, right? It's exactly what's happening here, right? And it's very much misunderstood in my mind, because metaphysically, it doesn't mean that suffering is required healing. You don't need to suffer in order to be healed. It means that Christ consciousness absorbs illusion without identifying with it. Because remember, true healing restores your ability to express your natural state. Just like Peter's mother-in-law, she always did serve. And that's exactly what she did when the fever was removed. So Christ consciousness absorbs illusion without identifying with it. It meets distortions without becoming it. This is the power of awareness and not attaching yourself to thoughts, emotions, right? To witness without attachment. And in doing that, you transform your life. The next section is the cost of following Jesus. When Jesus saw a crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then a teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another disciple said to him, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me and let the dead bury their own dead." So someone says that they want to follow Jesus, and Jesus responds, "Foxes have dens, birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Metaphysically, this is about identity. This is about identity. Christ consciousness is not rooted in external security. Point blank. Christ consciousness is not rooted in external security. It does not depend on roles, titles, attachments. And to walk this path, you must release all of that and the need for false stability. Awakening requires surrendering of these attachments in order to level up in consciousness, awareness. I hope this is making sense. Please let me know if this is making sense down in the comments below. I really love to hear from you guys. I comment on every single comment, okay? Reply every single time. So definitely let me know your thoughts. But truly, awakening requires surrender. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. And the next part, it says, Jesus calms the storm. Okay, a storm arises and Jesus is out on a boat. The disciples literally panic. I mean, I would too. But Jesus says, you of little faith, why are you so afraid? And then he calms the storm. No biggie, you know? But metaphysically, the storm represents the reactive mind, the ego, the 3D within our body. So fear, overthinking, emotional turbulence. The disciples, they represent aspects of consciousness that still identify with fear. And that is such a 3D, physical, human construct, really, honestly. Because 3D, living in 3D is survival mode. This is fight or flight. This is when your nervous system is not regulated, right? But the disciples represents aspects of consciousness that still identify with the 3D, that still identify with the survival mode, okay? And Christ consciousness does not fight the storm. It doesn't fight the storm. It commands stillness, standing in your authority, and the storm obeys. This is inner mastery. But this isn't controlling life around you. This is stabilizing your awareness, which then helps you to stand in your power, sovereignty. Christ consciousness commands stillness. Again, inner mastery. And then the last section of chapter 8 is Jesus restores 2 demon-possessed men. Jesus encounters 2 men that are possessed by demons, inner demons. The demons beg to be sent into pigs. Now, metaphysically, demons, they represent fragmented or unconscious patterns within the psyche. That's what I meant by inner demons. And these are fear patterns. These are trauma. This is suppressed identity. And Christ consciousness doesn't suppress these energies. It reveals and releases them. And within this story, it says, he said to them, go. So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. The demon energy, the low vibrational energy, went into the pigs went into the water, and they died. Those tending the pigs ran off, went into the town, and reported all of this, including what had happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave their region. So the demons represent the fragmented or unconscious patterns within the psyche, right? Christ consciousness came in, revealed them, and released them. Pigs rushed to the water, and that alone symbolizes like dissolution of subconscious patterns when they are no longer fed, when they are no longer sustained. Therefore, healing is integration. So I talk about that every single day within my energy updates, right? It's integrating and processing energies that are coming in and out of our physical energetic bodies, right? You cannot avoid it. If you avoid and you push it down and you suppress it, it's going to cause dis-ease within the body. Meeting your true alignment as your true authentic self is the healing. That is the healing energetically. Matthew 8 shows us something very, very profound. It shows that healing is not random. It is not selective. It is not external at all. Healing is a natural result of alignment, awareness, and identity restoration. Every story reflects a different distortion, unworthiness, doubt, imbalance, fear, fragmentation, and every healing reveals the same truth. You are already whole beneath the distortion, beneath the noise. You are already whole. Many people in the world are waiting to be healed, but Matthew 8 invites a different perspective. What if healing isn't something that you wait for, but something that you align with? Christ consciousness is not giving people something that they lack. It's revealing what has always been true at the soul level. I appreciate you being here, going over with me chapter 8 of Matthew. If you want to follow me longer for this whole entire series of the book of Matthew, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. That way you know when I update a new or put out a new episode of this series. But we are just getting into the nitty-gritty, and it's so exciting to really put Matthew with Christ consciousness, because people put Christ consciousness into like New Age religion, but really it's just embodying the energy of Jesus and Yeshua. And I want to make that known to people. So don't think of it as demonic, thinking of consciousness, because God is consciousness. God is all knowing. God is knowledge, right? God, source, prime creator, whatever you want to call. But I'm sending you so much love, so much light, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay stellar, my friends.